Despite the many challenges, especially that of racial discrimination and society not looking at his choice of career as a serious one, my next guest will complete his silver jubilee as a performer in 2022. Since he was six, he's created an atmosphere where people have been encouraged to shake a leg and groove to the biggest hits by the likes of Michael Jackson, KK, Shan, Boyzone, Ed Sheeran, etc. From school and college festivals to parties, weddings, and corporate events, he has spent all these years entertaining, spreading laughter and joy, especially in and around Kolkata, and he continues to do so. Watch him talk about his journey, his biggest influencers, his future plans, and the life of a performing artist in India. Ladies and gentlemen, Francis Yi Lepcha from Kolkata, India. And I'm Candy, your host for the show. Let me remind you to subscribe, like, and share. I hope you enjoy the chat. Welcome to Candid with Candy. Francis, thank you so much for joining me today. It's so lovely to see you after chasing you for many months. And hopefully, once we're through, you will be like, I'm glad I did it.
You are kind of creating a digital history, and this is going to remain as long as this world, survives, and as long as YouTube is not pulled down.
Yeah. So we'll get right to it. Did you come from like a musical family? Like, how did music begin for you?
I got to know very late that my grandfather, my mother's father, he was from Shanghai, China. And he was a kind of a person who would sing in theater, Chinese theater. So
wow.
He would do that. But I was not exactly from a musical family as such. My mom introduced me to the world of Western music when I was around 6 years old. So one night they were showing this Top of the Pops kind of episode. I remember the first video that was happening that point of time was We Are the World. And I got a chance to see all the greats at that point of time. I didn't know who was who that time because I was too young. Then I saw someone which, this is like really controversial because I was only 6 years old and I was introduced to Madonna. I was totally enamored by her kind of a thing.
So it actually sounds like, you always had music in your blood since you were 6, 7 years old. But was it something that, like when kids are asked, right, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like, did you say like a musician, or was there any other career option that you had in mind, or was it always music?
I never had any like a firm kind of a goal that I'm going to become a musician in the future. Back in those days, life was very simple. Nobody asked you questions like, where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
That only happened after the corporates came.
Exactly, yeah. No, as a growing kid, I had no clue where I was heading. I was just living my life and trying to find happiness in small things, like flying a kite. The most important thing was to fly a kite, make sure that you had a BMX bike, a BMX cycle. That was the most ultimate thing that you could ever do, That was like an Android phone kind of thing.
You were living life and taking life as it came. And then at some point you decided to kind of start singing commercially as well, right? Where you started, making some money from it. I'm sure 25 years ago, it wasn't really looked at as a career option. So how did your folks, your family, your parents kind of react to your choice at that point in time, like 25 years ago?
Well, obviously they weren't at all that supportive. They saw that I was winning in school competitions. I arguably say during our time, sometime in the late 90s and early 2000, the fest culture was at its peak. So we were like really ripping it apart back then. So initially it started with dance. Through some twist of fate, I got into the music scene because I was representing my school in two categories. One was the dance and the other one was for singing. There was a local band that came into the picture, and they noticed me. And long story short, they invited me over to do an audition, and I just went and I auditioned, and they instantly they liked me, and they said that we want you. As you had said, initially my family didn't at all really like the idea of me gigging and things like that. So I saw that this is something that I enjoyed doing, and the money was good. So I thought, like, why not do this when it's giving me fulfillment, it's giving me fame, it's giving me some level of satisfaction. So why not go in this? And since then the ball has been rolling.
Yeah. And 20, almost 25 years, right? I think this is your 24th
I'll
year.
complete next next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So congratulations on your silver jubilee. I think, it's quite a feat. This is not an easy industry to be in. Taking on a career like this, where you don't have too many mentors, you don't have too many people who have that road paved out for you. At least in India, I'm sure there were so many challenges that you faced along the way. Can you let us know probably like the top three difficulties or challenges that you faced?
The most relevant one is the racial one, the racial discrimination. I can tell you very discreetly, like in Calcutta, obviously I earned my place over the years, and Calcutta is a very different society. It's a place of intellectuals. It's a place of people who are highly intelligent and who love music, who appreciate music, and things like that. But again, there are some places where people stereotype. They cannot relate a Chinese guy singing in English. At one point, it was all about discrimination. Uh, they wouldn't want, certain people wouldn't want to give me the opportunity.
Because of the way you look?
I feel yes. It was because of the way I look. Yeah. But I will not totally give them the blame. I also had a lot of well-wishers who gave me the opportunity to move ahead. There are many well-wishers who have invested in me in my career and things like that. But there's one institution that really stands out, which is the Oberoi Grand. That hotel has played a pretty vital role in giving me my most important gig of the year. For artists like us, the most important gig of the year is the 31st night, the New Year's night. Since 2006, I have performed there every year. So that is like a feather in my cap or something like that. Like it's like a record. So I've done like almost 13 years of consecutively. Yeah, no other artist or group has bagged that particular opportunity. But yes, the number one thing is discrimination, because I think they're not very ready to hear a guy of my orientation sing in Hindi. Hindi is the main seller, and if you want gigs to fall your way in this country, you've got to perform in Hindi. You've got to embrace Bollywood and deliver that. And I do. The irony is that I do. I don't know if you had seen on TV. This was in 2003. There was the second part of Channel V Pop Stars. If you remember, the first part was a group called Viva. You remember Viva? Yeah. That was the first year, and then the second year, I was selected from this East Zone. So there were 25 people selected all over India. I was from the East Zone. I was the only one from Calcutta. So I went to Bombay to audition for the final round. The second day itself, the judges told me that I was the odd one out. Like, I didn't quite fit into the picture. Like, if I was joining a team of 4 people, I didn't fit in to that picture. So they had to let me go.
What does it mean? Like, didn't fit because of the way you looked?
Yeah. They didn't tell me directly because of how you look. They just said, it's not fitting in the way how you are and things like that. So we'll have to let you go and all that.
If your looks kind of played a part in that decision making, then I think, it's very, very sad. on the part of the
Yeah.
whole production
Uh,
team and just the people in general, right? Or the leadership that was a part of this show. Because if you're so damn shallow, then I'd rather not be a part of this team at all, because then my face will just keep coming on the way. You know what I'm saying?
this whole music business is a different paradigm altogether. It's a different universe altogether. You might be a good singer, good cover singer. You can sing like Axl Rose, maybe play the solo like Slash, but there's a different universe altogether, which is called the business aspect of the music. Because a lot of the artists, they may be a good performer, but their business aspect is zero. They don't know anything about the business. That is why they fade away in an instant. They don't know how to go in the next level, and nobody teaches you that. No school teaches you that. No godfather teaches you that. Nobody. It's only once you enter the lion's den and you start seeing the entire culture and the way how the thing is set, then you start learning. Those who learn, those who understand that this is how the system is, they are the ones who take it to the next level.
I know that you are also nurturing a lot of younger artists and talent today. And I think one of the top lessons you just mentioned is the business aspect of it, the PR side, and so on and so forth. Any other words of wisdom for these upcoming artists?
If you are doing music, you have to be very clear from the start. What are you wanting to do music for? If you have a passion to sing, then make sure you have, rich parents, so you can fall back on them. That's I don't want to say I say it sarcastically, but I say it very discreetly and I say it very frankly that you can't tell your mom and dad, I want to be a singer for my passion, because the second day your dad or mom will say how much money you make out. So that line has to be drawn, and if you want to do it for a living, then you'll have to, in this country, and if you're going to do it for a living in this country, then you'll have to do something which is like sell biryani. Biryani is something which everybody likes. Okay, so you have to do music. If you're doing music for a living, you have to do music in a way that everybody likes. Because when everybody likes your music, your opportunities will grow. But if you're going to do it for your passion, if you're going to say that this is my original song and I'm going to sing it, 99.9% nobody's going to give you value for that. So I give this advice to the people, because they come with
expectations, right? I think they come with a lot of expectations, but the way you explained it is pretty clear. So have you ever written your own songs?
I have kind of co-written some tunes with my former band members, few paragraphs, few lines. So I have recently I have done a venture with a senior artist. He's a very good jazz guitar player, or kind of esoteric kind of a guitar player, and with him I have kind of co-written and fully produced a new song altogether. I'm planning to release that probably within a month's time or end of the year. And if I do this, it'll be my first official kind of release on Spotify. Yeah.
Oh wow!
That will be like a co-written kind of a thing.
Uh-huh.
But I have arranged it. I have produced it and arranged it. Yeah. So that's
very nice. So basically, a different or a new side of Francis is
emerging. There were a lot of emotional issues that I was dealing with, and that was always taking a toll on me. So that kind of slowed me down. But now I'm in a space where I'm far more away from all those issues, and I'm not exactly concentrating, but I'm in a space where I'm doing work which is basically to build a decent legacy. I want to do some good music videos, and some will be covers, some will be original, and it will be a nice, decent catalog.
That's great, because I wanted to I wanted to ask you what your future looked like for you. The question, right? Where do you see yourself 5 years? But I think you already answered that beautifully. Creating your legacy, your pure soul coming out in the music that you will produce, that you will co-write, you will direct. That outcome is going to be so special. And even if it's just that catalog of 5 to 7 songs or whatever that number is.
Yeah.
That's something that will mean the world to you, right? We wish you the very best for that. So we will look forward to that. So welcoming Francis to Candid with Candy's Rapid Fire. Are you ready?
Okay.
Who's your favorite singer?
Probably MJ.
Yeah, that's what I thought. If you were not a musician, you'd be a
Explorer.
What is your favorite musical instrument?
Probably the piano.
Okay.
The piano sounds very classy to me, so I like the piano.
What do you love most about Kolkata?
There's one thing that I like about Kolkata is it's a time machine and time is stopped over there. I'm telling you, if you enter the new market, you will think you're a 10-year-old girl.
Yeah,
I mean, every time I enter new market, I think I'm a 10-year-old kid. It smells the same, it feels the same, minus the new tech and the Android and everything.
Do you have a dream stage?
I've always pictured myself in a very picturesque place. It could be in the mountains most probably, because my heritage is partly from the mountains, and I'm in a very sophisticated kind of a hotel or an inn kind of a thing, which probably I own maybe. And I have my own little classy restaurant, pub or a bar or hotel, a small space where there are roughly about not more than 100 people dining, and I'm performing there almost every night.
Your favorite song?
It's Just the Way You Are by Billy Joel.
Since you're part Chinese, what's your favorite Chinese dish?
Mixed Hakka Chow.
Hakka Chow. It was lovely having you at Candid with Candy, having this heart-to-heart chat. I don't think we would have ever done it otherwise. And
this is nice. Yeah, thank you so much for giving the time to me and choosing me to somehow get into this. I loved it.
Yay! I said hopefully that's how we would end the show with. I'm glad you did it, and you're glad you did it. So I'm very happy.
Of course, yeah. when you speak to an interviewer who is extremely positive and who is welcoming and make you feel comfortable, so a lot of things do come out naturally.
See?
So I think this is one of those moments, either with me or when you've chosen other friends to come, other guests to come and do this. I'm sure similar things have happened. So yeah.
Thank you. That's actually a huge compliment for me. I appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you guys next week. Till then, you can check out the rest of my videos. Take care and God bless.